we would have Facebook, because we know that reaching people on Facebook is very difficult, but if you would partner with sites such as BuzzFeed or Upworthy, who love sharing these stories, and I know my Facebook feed is filled with BuzzFeed and Upworthy videos, it would be a great way to do to share the story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with social media and Instagram, there's a lot of what you talked about was starting conversations. Do you guys have any thoughts around how you would use that, use social media or Snapchat to start conversations around the verification process?
Yeah, so I think one of the big things is that you can always Snapchat back, things like that, which might not be as big of a, what we think would happen, but it's more getting those people to be aware of Pete's, to go to the website, which we explain will help start conversations that way, as well as going to the stores, talking to baristas. So that's more of a channel to get people to visit the two main hubs, which is the site and the stores, which we think will start the conversations.
Good question. Actually, I can't make any positive comments. So, the baristas, was there something about baristas and being part of that conversation? Is that what you were referring to in terms of talking about the coffee? That was more the customers.
It was more of the customers,
okay.
But at the end of the day, we want to start conversations with, whether it's among customers or with the barista or whoever we can talk conversations with, because we believe that the conversation needs to be started at some point. And once it is started, we can bring it back to Pete's anyway.
Okay. But was there anything explicit about baristas necessarily in there or no?
Well, I was going to get to that.
Okay.
But yeah, I've had great conversations with baristas, so that was one of our,
Hello, good morning. I'm Grace.
I'm Adam. I'm Eric.
And I'm Sarah. And this morning we're really excited to share with you our solutions to the Pete's Coffee Challenge. So to begin this process, we reached out to a lot of millennials to try to understand their mindset when it comes to coffee consumption. So we found two main points. First of all, millennials do really care that their products have some sort of positive impact on the broader world, but they're not necessarily going to go out and seek that information for themselves. It needs to be obvious and readily accessible. Secondly, millennials really appreciate a personal connection with a company, whether that be with the employees or the people behind the product, but they want that sort of small business connected feel.
Based on these insights, we've created a two-step campaign strategy. The first step is to ask an engaging question to spark curiosity about the coffee verification process. And the second is to then provide an answer by telling Pete's coffee verification story. The driving question behind our campaign is, what's your coffee story?
We'd like to have two main parts to this story. One focusing on the process, the positive impacts that the verification process is creating, and creating transparency by making sure every aspect of the supply chain is presented clearly to the customer, hopefully to inspire trust. We also want to create an emotional connection between the consumer and the people behind the coffee at every stage of production. That includes the producers, but doesn't stop until the employees serve coffee at a store. This hopes to inspire brand loyalty through a direct emotional connection to the faces behind the coffee.
So first, we'd like to share our suggestions regarding the retail stores. A really important mechanism to get our message across is the cup. People are holding it and looking at it every single day. So we want to inspire greater interest in the people behind Pete's Coffee and the stories behind our coffee by posing our campaign question, what's your coffee story, which would be followed by a short bio of a particular producer or worker and how they've been positively impacted by the verification process. Then we will also add a link that they can access for more information.
We think that stickers would be an exciting new product to sell in retail stores. As you can see by this laptop cover and also this water bottle, stickers are a fun and popular way that millennials like to show their support for companies that they believe in. We believe that by creating camping stickers, a rudimentary design is on the bottom left-hand corner, that we can establish Pete's as a trendsetter in sustainable coffee.
Another part that we noticed about the coffee experience in retail is the visuals that are on the wall. We suggest a number of art installations ranging from different photographs of the growing process to give it a more romantic feel, to clarified storyboards to make sure every part of the production process is presented to the consumer. We note that this inspires transparency while also educating customers and getting them to care about where their coffee comes from. The second part to these art installations focuses on the faces and the people behind the production. We'd like to have individual stories with names connecting the customer to the producers of the coffee. We'd like to continue this emotional connection to the employees. We want them to be informed. We want them to be educators and storytellers to make it seem as if they own the shop themselves, so they can convey this story in a real, trustable way to the consumer and to finish the final human link in the coffee process.
I think a captivating website is a great way to attract millennials to your company. So when we took a look at some of your competitors' web pages, we noticed that they dedicated a large part to their social responsibility. So we suggest that you should create a tab that details your partnership with TechnoServe and could also tell stories of your individual growers so that consumers could have a personal connection with your brand. Also, we think a 15 to 30 second easily accessible video that details your partnership with TechnoServe would be greatly beneficial. And then, another way we think you could leverage your partnership with TechnoServe in the verification process is through consumer packaged goods. We think that in a grocery store, when you're comparing two bags to each other, if you guys talk about the story of Pete's and how it connects to TechnoServe and the verification process, a consumer might be more inclined to purchase Pete's coffee than another brand.
We really see this Pete's MiddCORE Challenge as not only an opportunity to share the positive and environmental impacts of the verification process, but to also engage with our consumers in a real and exciting way.
We want to create a sense of trust and transparency by outlining the entire production process, and we also want to create an emotional connection between our consumers and our producers by showing how they're impacted by our verification process and how their lives have changed as a result of it.
Ultimately, our campaign question, What's Your Coffee Story?, is intended to spark interest and passion for Pete's commitment to its core values, and also to help millennials realize how choosing Pete's is better aligned with their personal values. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that question in mind, what's your coffee story? What do you see as the content of this video?
I think, so the video would be a little more detailed than, for instance, a short story on our cups or on the back of the coffee bag, and I think it would detail the relationship with TechnoServe and what TechnoServe in particular is doing, whether that be providing producers with better capital or with better skills, and then talking about the impact that has on their livelihoods and on their communities.
I think there may be an opportunity immediately on the site for a very short video that sums it up quite concisely, like the nice animations that TechnoServe has on their website. But I think there also could be opportunities for later, deeper into the website, nicer short films that could give like a documentary sense for people who are more interested in the process and want that like real romanticized, or not romanticized, that documentary feel to a more informed, longer video.
Thank you.
If you need more evaluative forms, take them as they come around. Don't take them if you don't. Do you need any? Okay. Does anybody in this room need more? Yeah. Good. Anybody still need more? Oh, yeah. Don't try to evaluate the presentation right before yours because you know your mind is elsewhere, so you're probably evaluating 8 or slightly fewer. Thanks. Right.
Everyone, I'm Kai, it's Nikki, Max, and Tommy. In a stroke of genius, we came up with our slogan, "Beats the Batch." It's something, it's catchier, it's more accessible than verification. It tells a story, whether it's from the farmers or to the hand roasters that do everything to order. We think this would be the best way to tell the story.
So to start off with, we thought one of the biggest problems is that Pete's has a really awesome verification story that they are so pumped about, but no one knows about it. We don't think a lot of the customers or the employees are aware of their awesome story. So we thought there was a huge need for education. Also, we found that a lot of people choose their coffee based on the experience. We think that Pete's has a really strong idea of the fact that they brand themselves as high quality coffee, but we don't think that's enough. We think having an additional edge of their verification story of beans to batch will kind of help them compete in a very competitive industry. So our strategy is to tell Pete's verification story through their main storytelling channels of the retail experience, Pete's.com, and marketing, and to tell the beans to batch story. So to start off with the retail experience, we thought to redesign the cup. So redesign the cup in a way where you both have a picture and words. So we think having an attractive cup is a great way to share the brand identity and to create brand awareness around what Pete's is. Additionally, we think using the cup is a really strong avenue because customers see it every day, creating a really strong familiarity with Pete's story so that customers begin to feel responsible towards Pete's story and tend to then act as ambassadors in telling Pete's story and reminding kind of the people around them what Pete's is all about.
As well as adding to the cups, we want to add to the stores, whether it be a digital interface, like this one outside of Starbucks in Vancouver. Millennials love screens that get to touch them. And it's a great way to learn about the company and what it's all about. So this would also be a great way to tell the story.
So also within the retail experience, we think employee education is huge. So we think the employees are at the front lines of telling the story. They're interacting with the customers and they're giving kind of the experience and telling kind of what Pete's is all about. So we think having a 1 hour training video or 1 hour video during training that explains the whole process so that all the employees are well educated and able to speak about Pete's story. So next is Pete's.com.
Yep. We also believe that we should change the front page to a short 20-second video.